Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, the only daily football programme on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. We're delighted to have your company, and the main headlines we're going to be talking about tonight. Of course, Motherwell have been busy in the transfer market. They have signed Jake Taylor on loan until the end of the season, as Stephen Pearson gets set for 6 weeks minimum on the sidelines. There's a small matter of a Dundee derby to look forward to this evening, and tomorrow night Kilmarnock will have a chance to see if their strikers are clever or quick enough to test Celtic. Just a few of the topics we'll be discussing in the company of Alan Rough and Des McKeown. I always like to see Des here. He makes me feel totally and utterly inadequate in the fashion department. There's nothing worse, Roughie, for us than a thin guest. Doesn't do our confidence.
No, but he works hard at it.
Oh!
Yeah, he works hard at it.
You know what I love about it, by the way? I'd love to be able to get into a shop and go, yeah, I'll take that. That looks good on me. Whereas Des can go in and everything looks magnificent, Roughie.
It's completely different for us, because when we go in, it's where's the extra large? No, that's not enough out here.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're relying heavily on personalities to get us by, which is why we're toiling. Anyway, what about Motherwell? Jake Taylor in. The blow is Stephen Pearson.
Yeah, it certainly is. It was a bit of a tackle. I think we spoke about it. It was one of these ones where neither of the two of them wanted to actually pull out of it. It was a wholeheartedly, and unfortunately, it's a bad one for him. But in light of the season that Motherwell's had last year, I think the more new players that they get in, the better. And it is a sore one, but he's moved very quickly to replace him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Des, the word from Ian Barraclough is that he always had a cover in midfield in mind. So Pearson's just maybe accelerated the need to get him in before the window closes.
Yeah, and I think that's it's been fortunate that it's happened. You know, you don't want anyone injured, but it's happened before the window has closed. So Ian Barraclough can obviously react to that and bring in Jake Taylor from Reading. So interesting to see from all reports that we're hearing, you know, similar type of player, kind of box-to-box midfielder, Welsh international who's hoping to stake a place in the Welsh squad should they get to the 2016 European Championship. So Jake Taylor's got plenty to play for, and that can only be good for Motherwell.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, as far as the midweek fixtures, unusual, but we've got quite a busy card, as you can see there. The Dundee derby tonight at Tannadice, St Johnstone against Ross County, and then of course on the Wednesday, Hearts against Motherwell, Inverness against Partick Thistle, and Kilmarnock against Celtic to look forward to. And of course we talked about the bragging rights in the city. Des, you were up there, you watched Dundee perform really well against Hearts in the first half, and then second half suddenly, you know, Juanma Delgado had his say.
Yeah, Dundee were terrific in the first half, Peter, I have to say. I thought from middle to front, I thought Greg Stewart was exceptional. Every time he got the ball, he looked dangerous. You had Kane Hemmings at the point of the attack causing real problems for the central defenders of Hearts. But it all changed at half-time. It was really strange. A bit of a reorganisation for Robbie Nielsen, certainly, but the second half, Gomez and Wabin totally dominated the midfield area, and Hearts get back in it. Paul Hartley will be hoping that what Dundee showed in the first 45 minutes is what it takes to Tannadice tonight, because on that showing there's goals in the team, and that was without Rory Loy. Rory Loy had dropped out prior to kick-off, but all over that front, you know, the final third of the pitch in the first half, Dundee were creative, they were bright, they were you know, incisive, and they looked as if they were going to score every time they were going forward.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I was looking at their formation, Roughie, from the weekend, and wondering how they approached this one. I mean, that front three, it was Stewart and Hemmings, with obviously Harkins just in behind them as well. Maybe wasn't as effective as he was in the first game against Kilmarnock, Gary Harkins. But when he's on for him, do they go to Tannadice and have a real go, or do they just play it more cautiously?
Well, obviously, Des saw the style of play. I think Paul is an attacking-minded manager. I think he likes to go out and entertain. There'll be a lot of players playing in that game tonight that haven't played in a derby before. I don't know if that'll have any effect. But for me, it's the defences aren't really sorted themselves out. So I think it could be an excellent game tonight. I think there should be lots and lots of chances. I think it could be a big score.
Yep, absolutely. And Jackie McNamara, they got a confidence-boosting win at the weekend, although it has to be said, Des, always helps when you get somebody chipping in with an own goal. Do you think there is now an even balance in Dundee, or is there is a chance here for the Dark Blues to finally just edge ahead?
Well, it's an interesting question, Peter, because I think if you look at, and I might have got this wrong, but I think the 11 who started last year for Dundee United in the first game of the season, there were, I think it was 9 changes to the 11 that started last August. So there's been a huge turnaround in players, and the top quality players have all moved on upwards and onwards. So from that perspective, they've still got a number of really good players, I have to say. But I just think Dundee, at this stage, probably think of themselves as a stronger team in Dundee. I think there's more solidity. I think there's more, not togetherness, there's probably a better nucleus in terms of Paul Hartley probably has 6 or 7 guys who he knows he's going to pick every single game unless something dramatic happens. But 6 or 7 are surefire certainties to start for him. I think Jackie McNamara is still trying to get the blend amongst his squad. He's obviously brought in a number of players in the summer. I think tonight will be a real indicator as to where the football power lies in Tayside.
Yeah, you get that feeling in every derby. I mean, in Hearts, Hibs, Celtic, Rangers, that feeling of pressure that comes with just one isolated game, Roughie, that can buy you so much time from the pain of maybe other poor performances elsewhere if you get a derby win.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. If Jackie hadn't got that win at Motherwell, the pressure would have been on them, mega style, But as you said, any win at all makes the dressing room a wee bit happier. But I do think that Dundee are getting into this one more positive. I think Dundee United boys possibly will be a wee bit tentative in what's happening. And as Des said there are a lot of young boys on that side and they'll have to handle the pressure.
Yep. St Johnstone against Ross County. It's always difficult. I mean, it's better when the weather's half decent, but Ross County's fans, Inverness fans, they have to travel a heck of a lot. This is probably the easiest of the journeys for them, down the A9, stop off at Perth and try and get a result against St Johnstone. Ross County will be happy with what they did at the weekend against Hamilton.
Yeah, and again, Ross County, I think, are an evolving club. I think Jim McIntyre obviously took over early last season, Peter. I think it took him a bit of time to get some form of structure to his squad. He's added to that in the summer. He started the season terrifically well. So whoever does come down the A9 from Dingwall will be coming down in a confident mode. St Johnstone, on the other hand, I just always always wonder where St Johnstone are going to find goals. It's that they don't seem to create a huge amount of chances, and they don't tend to score 2, 3, 4 goals on a regular basis. I think they might need to tonight. I think Ross County will score at McDermott Park. Yeah.
The good news is in Scotland, from time to time, every now and then we get an argument that really is a kind of a mountain out of a molehill, but it stretches all the way to the weekend, and I suspect John Collins' comments will go all the way to the weekend, Roughie, and beyond, because every club will be thinking, oh yeah, we don't give you a good test. It has just rumbled on, this whole comment that he made, that they don't get as big a test in Scottish football. Players are not quicker, clever enough than what they're facing in European football. But Ronnie Dyle has come out and backed his assistant on this. He said, he's as honest as the day's long on it.
He is honest as the day's long, but if you're in another club and looking at it and reading it as it came out, it looks arrogant, and I'm sure some of the managers looking at it, and Jackie in particular came out with a good, that they've just taken 3-year players, so they couldn't have been that slow. So it's a fair enough comment, but I can see where John's coming from. But it's not one of these ones that you want to throw open for obviously to, as you say, grow arms and legs, because it is going to upset some people.
I think just briefly, Des, it's not the fact that he maybe has a good strong point on this. I think there's a way to say, something like that. If the question's put at you, if you're experienced, you think, well, you open up with saying, I don't want to be in any way disparaging or disrespectful.
Yeah, and then just state the obvious.
Yeah.
I don't think it's what was said. I think it was the manner in which it was said, Peter.
Yeah.
And I think, Ronnie Dyle has come out and he's clearly going to back his assistant. But I think the bottom line is, when you read the quotes, I think it is disparaging. I think it's disrespectful, but accurate. it's a crazy situation.
Yeah.
He was actually stating the obvious. Everybody knows that Celtic have got the greater squad. They're probably not challenged enough in terms of getting into European football. Derek McKenna said the same, when he went into European football last week. It's just how he said it.
Yep, absolutely. I'm sure he'll be reflecting on that, or maybe not, who knows. Coming up in the next part of the programme, a lovely little feature we've been doing every week on the Peter and Roughie Football Show from time to time is the predictions. We'll show you our predictions for tonight and tomorrow. It gives you a chance to throw a shoe at the telly and disagree with Roughie or myself on your own predictions for the matches in the Premiership. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Peter and Roughie's Football Show. Des McKeown, the former Partick Thistle and Queen of the South fullback, is our guest on the programme. There are numerous other clubs, but as ever, Roughie, when we get guests on, we learned our lesson from Chick Charnley. The last thing you want to do is go through the 23 clubs and then mention the ones at the tail end when your career was going like that,
Yeah, and also a lot of positions as well, Des. It wasn't just fullback, was it?
Yeah. Centre back, left mid. I played around with that.
Did you play in the midfield as well?
Versatile, if nothing else, Peter.
There you are. You know, I kid you not. I was actually going to say a classic John Collins line there, which was going to get him into trouble. I might as well say it now since I've thrown it up there. I didn't know that, Des, because I only covered the big games at that time. I'm only kidding you. Please don't take it the wrong way. But there's a few goalkeepers that have been looking for new clubs. Another one today, Jamie Langfield, doesn't want to sit on the bench at his age, 35. He's had a testimonial. I was amazed. I didn't actually realise that Jamie was there for 10 years at Aberdeen. But he's looking for a club. We had Craig Sampson as our guest on Friday night, I think it was. So clearly, when you get to that age, Roughie, you think to yourself, no, I don't mind backup, but unless it's on exceptional money, you want to move on and play.
Yeah, when you've only got maybe 2 or 3 years left, you want to be playing at the top. And as anybody will tell you, when you've been playing at the top, there's no substitute for getting the buzz of being there, in front of big crowds. And if you tend to drop into the reserves or whatever, it's just not the same. So you tend to try and find a club that you'll be playing first team.
Yeah, strangely enough, a lot of people look at the glamour of football, look at maybe the gloss of the Barclays Premier League, but up here, Des, this is a really uncertain time, I think, for footballers. I mean, even someone like Ian Vigurs, I thought he had a great season at Ross County. He picked up injuries at Motherwell that curtailed his regular appearances. Now, suddenly, he's looking, it could be maybe even going back up north to Inverness.
Well, clearly, I wasn't fortunate enough to play in the big games, Roughie. But anyway, that's another story.
So that wouldn't have bothered you later on?
No. Honestly,
I knew, by the way,
I could sell paper cups anyway.
My gob on that one. He wouldn't let it lie.
I'll tell you a wee story about John Gagan the other day talking about the golf and football. I was talking about Frank McAvenny and myself. Golf and football, says, but you've got the very top level, Frank McAvenny, English Premiership, etc., and Des is covered off at the bottom end of the game. Just hit me with it right away.
Yeah, he's a wonderful talent in doing that.
Aye, absolutely. It's a precarious game now, Peter. I think I spoke to someone yesterday about Keith Watson. I think he's now perhaps up at Aberdeen on trial.
Yeah.
He was in at Hibs. I think he's got well over 100 games for Dundee United, only 25, 26. So, yeah, it is uncertain for a lot of players. It seems to be that contracts in our day, my day certainly, 2, 3, 4 year contracts were just about commonplace. Now it's almost a 1 year contract whenever clubs are in, that area of really needing to look after the finances, possibly 2 years. But for guys like Ian Vigurs, there's been other players. Richard Britton's went to the Highland League. There's other guys who've gone to the Highland League. And Jamie Langfield, after 10 years, 35 years age, I think, he's just wanted to play. And I think that's refreshing, I have to say.
Yeah.
Rather than him sitting there taking the money, I think Jamie's decided that he just wants to go and play football, which is terrific. And Craig Sampson, younger, but he too thinks that he's deserved the chance to be a number one somewhere. He's worked really hard as deputies at a number of clubs. He then becomes a number one, and unfortunately, Gary Loughlin says Jamie McDonald was going to come in, so Craig Sampson's moved on, so fair play to him.
Yeah. As far as the Wednesday night fixtures are concerned, we had a look at the two games this evening, but tomorrow, Hearts against Motherwell, I cannot see Hearts persevering with Ozturk in the middle of the field? Because I was speaking to a few people who were at the game, including yourself, Des, and he looked like a boy lost in there, and they quickly changed it in the second half, Roughie.
Well, there's things you try away from the games, you know, and training, you know, and you look at players and you say, I wonder if he could do that there, I wonder. And sometimes you experiment it, but the good sign of a good manager is to, when it's not working, that you sort it out right away, and seemingly that's what he did.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, I don't know about you, but people were looking at the big boy Van Dijk, and with the amount of runs he makes forward, I just wonder if he could be a midfield player. You know, you wonder, you know, you look at it and
Listen,
there's so
Roughie,
much grace about him.
I think some players are better with the game in front of them. I think he's one that I would suggest is better as a centre-half stepping into the game.
You do?
Van Dijk?
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I wouldn't have Van Dijk in the midfield.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Roughie, because anybody can have a nutmeg on their own back on the corner flag up front. I mean, it was absolutely sensational. But you know, it changes. I mean, were you ever in a position, Des, where you were playing in a position you thought, this is not me, I just feel uncomfortable?
John Lambie tried me in centre midfield, Peter, and I have to say I was a player that liked to have the game either in front of me or beside of me, so coming in the park, or as left back or centre back with the game in front of me. John, because I was fit and because I was pretty decent in the air, he asked for me to attack the back post. So if the ball was building up on the right hand side of the pitch, get to the back post. If it was building up on the left hand side, go to the back post on the right hand side. Yeah. He was actually trying to get me just to link up as a kind of third man runner. But see, when the ball came in round about me, I didn't have the awareness. I wasn't good enough to have the awareness of the guys in the central midfield area. You know, they're checking over their shoulders every 2 seconds to see where everybody is. I didn't have that awareness as a footballer. So central midfield, I struggled with that. You see that kind of honesty. That's why Des is here, by the way. That honesty. Whereas if I had to say that to you, you know, no problem. I can play anyway.
No. It was a murder coming in every week, and somebody saying, "No, you ran goals today." Oh, well, come on, here's a chance.
Why I said
try midfield.
I know. Everybody used to say to me, by the way, if he's you know, after you'd finished your career and you're playing in these Legends games, Roughie's playing out. You like playing out? Yeah,
well, used to in training, you know, given the chance. Obviously, you want to do most of your stuff in goals of training, but when there was a wee bounce game, there are a lot of goalkeepers out there, you know, who felt they were comfortable playing in a game. And I have to say, the ones that were comfortable out with a touch are the ones that are benefited with the pass pack. I mean, I was watching the game. I think it's a great technique they've got. Most of them, I haven't seen many of them struggling. You know, kicking the ball. I think they've really worked on it, and they've done well. Even before games now, you see the goalkeeping coach, and it's almost like a triangle, and they're just zipping the ball about. And a lot of the guys are now playing out of goals so that they can get more used to their touch of the foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you want to interact with us, you can at Peter and Roughie on Twitter, and also facebook.com/Peter and Roughie. The reason why I mention that is, of course, it's your chance to look at our predictions and then give us your thoughts on it as well. Of course, it's always difficult to agree or disagree on these predictions, Roughie. So
I'm Dundee United, Dundee.
Yes.
Tonight, I'm going to go 2 each. I think there are going to be goals in that game. I think both defences need to tighten up. I think there'll be lots of chances, so 2 each for me.
Yeah, you're going for that, okay. As far as St Johnstone against Ross County, I can't separate them. I mean, obviously I've gone for Dundee to win. I can't separate St Johnstone and Ross County, Roughie.
No, they can, and Des has touched on it. I don't think they score enough goals. They'll always be under pressure. Ross County, I think, are on a wee high just now. I don't know if they're good enough to go up there, so I'm going to sit in the fence and 1 each for me.
Yeah, Des, do you agree with any of those two that we've?
I think there'll be goals in the Dundee game. Not sure how it'll finish, but I think if there's going to be a winner, I would take Dundee at this point.
Yeah, okay. I look at the ones on the Wednesday, and it gives everybody a real chance to go crazy and shout at the telly, because that's what you do. I think Hearts are going to edge it for me, Roughie. What about you? I see you.
Yep, Hearts for me. I think, again, the Motherwell defence need to tighten up a wee bit. I think Hearts will always create chances, and with 15,000 behind you, Only one winner for me.
Yep, okay. I've gone for Inverness against Thistle because I've got Thistle relegated to Alan Archibald. He's not going to be happy when he comes in the studio.
Yeah.
Although the great thing about this programme is if you're watching the repeat at 10:30, boy, are we going to look silly.
Well, I have to say I was at the Partick Thistle game against Celtic the weekend there, and there were a lot of people in the stand asking for you.
Yeah, it's been one of those weekends for me. Des, apart from that, I've got Celtic emphatically at 4-0.
I don't think you'll be far away there, Peter. I'd be surprised if Celtic didn't pick up all 3 points, and I think they'll score goals.
Yeah, the assistant at Kilmarnock and probably the manager, Gary, Gary Locke, has said, listen, we're in no rush for Chris Boyd to score. The goals will come. I think from Kelly's point of view, it would be nice if they actually arrive tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think he needs to get chances to get these goals. I think he did 1 or 2 at the weekend, but as far as strikers are concerned, you're just waiting on them getting their first, and then they kick on from there.
Yep, it's all a bit of fun. You can agree or disagree on that. It's been great chatting with Des McKeown in the studio here, and of course Roughie and myself will look at the games tonight, and we'll also analyse what's going to happen tomorrow as well. If you can join us if you can on Peter and Roughie's Football Show on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow, Monday to Friday. Good night.